All right, so we've got a bit of a strange story for you tonight. A boat that washed up on a beach in Spain, thousands of miles from where it set off months earlier. The boat appeared on Thursday, the 9th of November, about 200 meters off the coast of Coruña in northern Spain. A local man was out walking along the beach and he sounded the alarm around 1400 hours when he saw this boat drifting towards the coast. Now, the boat is a Lagoon 400 Catamaran and the name of the boat was Lucky Cat. Now, more ominously, there was a message handwritten on the side of the vessel saying to call the US Coast Guard and a phone number, the US Coast Guard in Spain. So later that day, the boat ran aground and it's now beached 30 meters onto the sand. There was nobody on board this vessel. Now, there's a few confusing stories out there, but I think we're gonna lay them out straight here in this video. Now, Spain's Maritime Rescue had received a call from a fishing vessel saying that they'd also seen this catamaran drifting, but that there was nobody on board. Now, by the time that they responded to the boat, it was beached, right? So the local authorities are now digging a channel with excavators to try to get the yacht back into the water, as you can see in the video footage here. Now, it turns out the vessel had crossed a large part of the Atlantic unmanned after the captain of the vessel had died on board. Now, written on the side of the vessel is a message believed by some reports to have been written by the captain of the yacht as some type of distress message. However, it appears to have been written by the US Coast Guard after having searched the vessel and confirming to others that the vessel was adrift. Now, the vessel reads, VL searched, adrift, contact US Coast Guard, and then there's a phone number, right? So it's a little confusing who and where the owner's body was recovered, though. That's the thing that we don't understand. Sorry, I said the owner, I meant the captain. Now, one report says that a rescue operation was carried out in July, on the 23rd of July, so 4 months earlier, when a unit of the Canadian Rescue Service located the catamaran in front of the Azores Island, which is in the Atlantic. Now, report 1 that we've read says, during the storm, they boarded the vessel and found the captain's body and recovered it. However, because of the weather, they left the vessel. His body was returned to Halifax in Nova Scotia. That's the first report that we've read, but we don't think that's correct. Report number 2 had a quote from the Canadian Search and Rescue, and it said, as far as we know, the man was transiting the Atlantic in the catamaran for the owner of the vessel. He was taking it to Europe. The owner is a Slovakian. Little else is known about him or the circumstances of his death. That information was provided by Halifax, and it says in the second report that they were in charge of the rescue, and it was limited to indicating that the captain died on board and that the boat was located adrift by a merchant ship, and the body was removed and transported to the United States, not Canada, with the help of the military. That's what they said. Now, this report was also translated from another language, so I think some of it might have been lost in the report. This is what we think happened. The merchant ship is credited with calling in the discovery of the yacht adrift. We believe that they may have been responding to a mayday either from the vessel itself or a mayday relayed by the coordination centre located in Halifax. Now, reports mention this Canadian Search and Rescue in Halifax. Well, this is where the Joint Rescue Coordination Centre Halifax is, the JRCC Halifax, and it's operated by the Royal Canadian Air Force and the Canadian Coast Guard. So when you set up your Inmarsat-C equipment, which is a satellite-based equipment, when you set that up, you select a coordination centre, and then if you press a mayday, it goes straight to that centre, so you don't have to sort of find a number and stuff like that. That's the way they set up. Now, if he set it up for the Canadian centre and he pressed the mayday button on his Inmarsat-C unit, then they would have received that call. And from that point forward, they will coordinate the rescue regardless of where that vessel might be. Now, if they were coordinating and they received a mayday call or a call from another vessel, then they would have sent out requests for vessels in that area to get in touch and to go and search, right? Now, if the US Coast Guard may have responded to that call and found the vessel, removing his body and writing that notice on the side, unable to recover the vessel due to the storm at the time. The Coast Guard's handwritten message saying that the vessel's been searched, and it was adrift. Now, after that point, which we believe may have been near the Azores, the catamaran drifted all the way to northern Spain and beached herself on the sands there. It's believed that the captain of the vessel, which carried a Croatian flag, had been hired to sail here across the Atlantic for the owner, as I mentioned earlier. Information found on board the yacht seems to suggest the journey may have started somewhere on the coast of Virginia in the US. So anyway, still no information on the cause of his death. So if you've got any further details, if you know any more about this story, please be sure to get in touch. You can get us at news@esysman.co.uk. Thanks very much for watching this video. You've been watching a SuperYacht News clip. If you'd like to see the full unedited SuperYacht News video, you can click on the link over here. You can also find our channel links below here. And if you'd like to see more shorter videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to this channel.